Have you ever knowingly committed a crime?
Yes.
Yes, you have.
If you need the water, check the beaches in the Carolinas. If you need the mountains, try the Appalachian Trail. If you need the redwood trees, gotta go to Yosemite. If you need me, 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 I'll be in Kansas City.
How we doing, everybody? Are we having a good time? Welcome to Mike Kelly's Westsider. Yeah, been around a long time. It's like coming back home. We're really excited tonight. We have Kansas City Limits 2024. This is our second season. So give it up for that. You can find Kansas City Limits on YouTube, television, Spotify, and elsewhere. But tonight we're here to gather to talk about our good friend Bob Walkenhorst. And who better to tell the story about where they've been and all the shenanigans other than his other good friend, Jeff Porter. So with no further ado, welcome to Kansas City Limits, and let's find out about Bob.
Welcome, everybody. Kansas City Limits.
Good evening.
I'm Jeff Porter. It is my distinct privilege and honor tonight to interview Bob Walkenhorst, my good
Thanks,
friend. I'm just going to cut right in because I am tasked tonight with not rambling.
Okay.
When you did this, when things were switched before, back in September,
Yep.
you had separated my life into 4 acts or 3 or 4 acts. Well, I'm not going to do this chronologically. I have 4 areas of interest.
Okay.
And I have about 4, 5 questions for each one of those. And I've got them all right here in the interview questions. And to make things even more fun, I have 10 toss-up questions that have nothing to do with art, nothing to do with music. They're just so people can learn who the real Bob Walkenhorst is.
Okay.
We'll get to those every now and then. Or if somebody wants to hear a toss-up question, just say, hey, toss it up. So.
I want to give people a disclaimer here. Jeff and I did a songwriting kind of symposium in Norway one time where we were just supposed to talk about songwriting. At 90 minutes, they had to cut us off.
Yeah.
Because once we get going. But we will try to keep it in a organized fashion. Jeff sounds like he's organized.
Succinct and concise. I've got the pencil. Always makes me look like I'm authoritative. And guys, I'm 64 years old. I need glasses to read the questions I've written out.
Is that all?
Yeah. Okay, so the first area
Okay.
of interest is the wellspring of creativity. Bob, you're a songwriter, you're an artist, painter, watercolorist, as of late, an author. The first conversation you and I had that I can remember, 1982, 1983, it was at Parody Hall. I was coming to get my amp on a Saturday. Steve, Bob, and Rich were loading in. And Bob has in front of him on the tables 3 sheets of paper and a box of the big crayons that you got in kindergarten, the 8. And he has drawn from the waist up portraits of Steve and Rich and himself, and he's feverishly putting the last touches on one. And these are really good that he's done with 8 colors only. And I walked him, I was like, did you do this? And he said, yeah, man, this is just like playing rock and roll. And I thought, well, no, it's not, because I can play rock and roll. I can't do that. So my question here is, what about that is like playing rock and roll? And in a broader sense, what about painting and visual art is like playing music?
The thing that I've discovered as I've gotten older and older and older is that the part that makes stuff that I like, the part in me that wants to make stuff is the same part of me that wanted to make stuff when I was 4. That as long as you can keep in touch with that 4-year-old, there's like always something to make. And when you're in the joy, in the moment of making something, you're that 4-year-old again, and time kind of ceases to exist. And I'm already getting very metaphysical here,
That's
but
okay.
but you know, art and music is my religion, really. You know, it's my spiritual belief. Yeah, you know, we've made our efforts at doing it for a living and making money with it and taking it out to the world and entertaining people. But the longer I do it, the more it kind of goes back to being that 4-year-old where I don't really care if anyone's watching or listening as much as I used to. I mean, I still do. I'm really glad when people do, but I'll be doing it anyway. So.
Yeah, you're bathing in the wellspring of creativity. So
yeah, because it just doesn't stop, really.
Yeah, it's a fabulous place to be. Which came first for you, a drawing or painting or music?
Well, Jeffy, when I would go into the grade schools and do these songwriting events with kids, I would tell this story where I say, well, people will ask me, when did you start drawing or when did you start painting? And I would tell the kids, when did you start? And they were like, well, I always do it, you know. And I said, well, that's the thing. Every human being is born singing and dancing and scribbling on the walls. It's just if you ever stop doing it, you know. You don't have to tell a kid to dance. You don't have to teach a kid to scribble on the walls. You have to teach him to stop. And some of us just never had to stop. So
great answer. That's a great answer. Are you better at one than the other?
I'm not the one to answer that. I mean, I think there are the visual and the musical parts are like different seasons of life for me. There became a time where I realized I really had to kind of put all my efforts and time into one if I was going to do it. You know, I mean, music in a lot of ways is a young person's game. And so those years when, you know, we were hitting Blaney's and Parody Hall, I realized this is the time to put the pedal to the metal. And there were years and years there where I did not put pencil to paper, paint to canvas, because there was not enough time. We were doing that all the time. So.
Yeah, it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
It's a lot of work. Nina Irwin told me once that she thought music was the highest of all art forms. Comment on that.
Bullshit.
Okay. There you go. I don't mean it's the one you have to be the highest to do.
No,
but
I think Leonardo da Vinci said one time that he thought painting was the greatest because no one would drive miles and miles to hear a song. Well, yeah, they do, Leonardo. And they'll drive miles and miles to see a painting too. It's not a competition, you know. It's like today this painting speaks to you, and today this dance will speak to you, and tomorrow it'll be this song. And I don't think there is any advantage one over the other, really.
Okay. When I'm talking about art, obviously, you can go ahead and applaud, man. I mean, all right. We're going to get to that, what you just did later in a bit, too. No, I don't know. I can't paint, but there's a lot of creativity out there.
But you know, there have always been musical artists who painted, and I don't know about painters who did music, but you know, Tony Bennett was a killer painter, serious about it, too. Paul McCartney has put out a book of abstract expressionists. He was close friends with Willem de Kooning. Joni Mitchell says she's a painter first, a musician second. Right, yeah. You know, and Paul said, to quote Paul, he said, "It all depends on what crayon you pick up that day."
There you go. So, and I guess maybe that to finish this section, do you identify as a painter? Do you identify as a musician?
I identify as a musician. I really do. I think that identity is a lot about how other people see you, and you know, I think they will always see me as a musician who paints every now and then. So, yeah.
Well, I think you're great at both of them, by the way.
Well, thanks, Jay.
And you're a hell of an author too. I was blown away by the Whirlybird days.
Thank you.
I never told you that.
Looking to buy an RV? KC RVs is your one-stop shop for everything RV. We offer competitive pricing, great financing rates and terms, and the best storage options in town. KC RVs. We make purchasing an RV fast, safe, and easy.
Midwest Music Foundation supports Kansas City's vibrant music community through wellness services and healthcare grants. advancing artists' careers through educational and performance opportunities, and providing access to a growing network of industry professionals. Through Abby's Fund, musicians and music workers faced with urgent healthcare expenses can get the help they need when they need it. For more information on the resources MMF provides, visit MidwestMusicFoundation.org.
Successful musicians know a strong multimedia presence is a must. Rock the stage and elevate your game with Black Moon Media. We understand the power of high-quality visuals in attracting premier venues, and we specialize in photo and video services designed to help you kick your career into high gear. Are you ready to take your band to the next level? Contact us today at 913-415-5101 or by visiting the website on your screen. Flexible payment options available.
When you need to keep your trailer rolling, turn to the towing pros at Croft Trailer Supply. With thousands of parts and decades of experience, Croft's friendly and knowledgeable staff will make sure you have the right parts for any type of trailer. Don't have time to fix it yourself? Let the mechanics at Croft get ready to roll. Whether you need hitch installation, DOT trailer inspection, towing accessories, or a brand new trailer, Croft Trailer Supply is Kansas City's one-stop trailer shop.
Looking for a spacious venue to hold your next event? Whether it's a wedding, anniversary, or private party, Abdallah Shriners provides the perfect atmosphere at very competitive rates for your special occasion. Abdallah Shriners meets all your needs with a 5,800 square foot event space, 20-foot ceilings, stage, built-in AV equipment, and a full-service bar. Your event will definitely be one to remember. For more information, call Abdallah Shriners today at 913-362-5300 or go to AbdallahShriners.com.
Looking to sell your RV? Let KCRV sell it for you. We offer free storage until your unit sells. We'll advertise, showcase, finance, and best of all, we'll handle all the paperwork. KCRV's, Kansas City's RV Consignment Center.
Okay, now we've got a toss-up question. You can plead the fifth on any of these, by the way. Have you ever knowingly committed a crime?
Yes.
Yes, you have.
Do I have to elaborate?
You can if you want. If you don't, I will.
I stole deck furniture from a drug dealer. Knowing that he had already been arrested, I figured we were in the clear.
Oh, I thought it was you that stole my deck furniture.
No, I didn't steal yours.
Well, I know of another time. We were playing a gig at Northwest Missouri State University, or somewhere there, and I didn't have the sustain pedal for the piano. And for this kind of, you don't always need it for certain kinds of music, but you needed it for this kind of music. For Stay Ahead of the Wolves, you need a sustain pedal. For other things, you need a sustain pedal. So Bob said, I've got an idea. And we went to his alma mater, Central Missouri State, or Northwest Missouri State. And we sneaked into the music room, and we went behind closed doors, and we started feverishly searching all of the instrument bags, and we found one. And Bob says, put this in your coat, we'll bring it back. And so then during the course of the gig, you know, they say the criminal always wants to brag about his crime or something. Bob happens to, you want to finish it from here?
Well, the president of the university was at the gig.
And
so
Bob...
So I thought maybe we should just keep it hush-hush. The next day, after the gig, we went back to return it, and the building's all locked up, so we can't return it. So I put it in a box and mailed it back with a nice note the next day. So sue me.
There you go. Okay. I'd never heard about the drug dealer's deck furniture. That's pretty
Yeah.
That's good.
Well, we're outside of the statute of limitations on that.
Okay,
so,
that's fine, man.
We can talk about
That's
it.
fine. Okay, second area of interest. This is known as the song.
The song.
Yeah. You know, at some point, you and I decided long ago, I want to write songs. And I don't know about you, but I wrote a bunch of crappy songs to begin
me too.
with.
Yeah.
And then suddenly, well, the first song I think that I wrote that was a good song, I still play, is called Time and Money. And I thought, oh, okay, I get this. I know how to make a song now. Did you have a song that when you thought, okay, I'm getting this?
Absolutely. I tell this story at a lot of my house concerts that, yes, most all songwriters have to write 500 absolutely terrible songs, and I have. But if you keep at it, you figure out why those are terrible songs, and then you listen to your heroes and think, how come that song's good and mine's not? And you start figuring it out. And when I wrote The One That Got Away, I realized there's nothing wrong with that song. And that's the way I tell the story. It's like I finally wrote a song, not necessarily great, but there wasn't anything wrong with it. And it became, so that song is always very near and dear to my heart because that's the first song I wrote, and then it ended up being on the first Rainmakers record, the first good song I wrote.
Yeah, there you go. There's nothing wrong with that. I guess
There's
that's all
nothing wrong with that.
That's a great song. That's a great song. But on that note, what makes a song great?
See, and that's where I still believe in the magic of art and the magic of music and the magic, the thing that you can't define. It's like, why does music work? I still don't really know. I mean, it can be a communal experience. It can be something that you can move to. It can be something you can stay absolutely motionless and absorb. And it's something you can be completely alone and have a part of. And I quit trying to figure out why, because it's like, the reason there is no why is the best part. It's like you really can't. It's a mystery. It's one of the last mysteries there is.
It's magical.
Yeah, there's still magic there. I don't know why. I mean, there's craftsmanship.
Sure.
You and I met the great Jimmy Webb twice, and he showed us his notebook of titles and phrases, and I'm like, "Don't lose that book." And he goes, "Oh, I won't lose that book." So
yeah, we did. Sat and talked to Jimmy Webb about writing stuff. Speaking of songwriting and lyrics, and I just like this story. This is a real quick answer. No abandon. Cross 7 wells. This makes me cry. What's 7 wells mean?
Well, my wife, my true love, Michelle Sewell. Sewell stands for the Old English, or wherever it came from, is the place of 7 wells, Sewell, and so cross 7 wells.
Yeah, I love that. When you
it's
told
one
me
of
that,
my gazillion references to Michelle in my songs.
I know that. Jimmy Webb said, yeah. I love that. I think about.
Thanks for asking that.
Jimmy Webb, in that interview you sent me, said that he thought "The Gambler" was a perfect song. I just wanted to say that.
Yeah, I remember reading that too.
It's a great song. It really is. I
bullshit.
just wanted to add that. No, it is. Have you ever written a song you wish you hadn't?
Oh yeah. When the Rainmakers made their first record, the Government Cheese got a lot of attention. This kind of anti-welfare song on the surface. And the irony was that it was reviewed in a very conservative magazine, and it was reviewed in a very liberal magazine, and both of them said that I was taking their side. That the song was about both, and that's the good thing about songs is they are an interpretive type of art. They are for the viewer, the listener to interpret. But I do wish I hadn't written that song. I learned a lot after writing that song, not just about the responsibility of what you put out into the world, but just about life, that some people are born with luck, and I certainly have been, and some people really are not, and I try to stay mindful of that, in that I've been really lucky, and I try not to put negative stuff, and Big Fat Blonde, the same way, I wrote that song for Rich Ruth to sing. I wasn't even going to sing it on the first month that the band was together. And it ends up being, significant in us getting to that level of making records. But, yeah, songs about the shape or weight of women's bodies, it's like, you're young and stupid. Go write something better than that,
Okay, so not so much Big Fat Blonde, but Government Cheese, is that a good song?
It's a well-constructed song. It did, but then now we get back to the metaphysics of it. What kind of energy do you want to be putting out into the world? What kind of things do you want to be singing about that you have no qualms about answering for? Good. And I do have qualms about answering for that.
I knew the answer to these questions, but I wanted you all to hear them. You thought I was just going to say, well, gee, Bob, who's your biggest influence? Okay, time for another pop-up question.
Okay, pop up. You've come prepared, man.
I have. Have you ever hitchhiked?
I have never. I hitchhiked. I worked at Silver Dollar City back in the 70s, and one time my brother and our car broke down. We had hitchhiked to work one day. Okay, so that's the extent.
Okay, I just wondered.
End of story. Next question.
Yeah, that's right. These are supposed to be concise, succinct answers. Okay, the next area of interest that we all want to hear about is entitled Big Time Show Business.
Razzle dazzle.
Okay, Mark Schaffner, a good friend of ours, as some of you may or may not know him, great guy. He was the first, on the Rainmaker's first tour of Europe, he was the house guy, the sound engineer.
Yeah, quite a few
and
tours.
he told me, he also mixed my record Even with the Wind. Really, really good friend. He told me that on New Year's Eve, 82 or 83, Steve, Bob, and Rich are opening for Fool's Face at the Uptown Theater.
Oh, yeah.
He said, Bob Walkenhorst plants a flag on the stage and says, I have arrived, I am a rock star. Do you remember that? Do you remember that night?
Oh, that night was electric for us.
Is he correct?
Well, I wasn't in my... Steve and Rich and I were planting a flag in Kansas City. Rich Ruth said that what he was telling all his friends. Rich had been in the Kansas City Blues Band, a very respected and very well, really good players, but Rich wanted to do something new and edgy and energetic, and that he sees me and Steve, and he goes, that's what I want to do. So we join up, and Rich starts telling his friends, we're hotter than piss, and we're going to take over the town. Which was our attitude. So if I was planting a flag, those guys were planting one too. We were so lucky and excited to be on the bill that night, and we can bring this back to Norm. The reason we got to be on the bill at the Uptown Theater, and I think this was the end of '83, was that it was supposed to be The Secrets and Fool's Face, and The Secrets were not going to open for Fool's Face.
Oh, God.
Bad career
Norm.
move.
Brent.
No,
Steve.
I don't think it was the guys. They had this management company that I think it was their, yeah. So
I just said her name. I'm not going to say it
So
over
thanks, Norm. Norm was my break in show business.
That's great. Since you brought it up, so the whole, and you're great. I've always said that during the Rainmaker shows, if you take 100% of the calories that the band is burning, Rich burns 10, I burn 10, Pat burns 30, Bob has all the 50, because you are never stopped. You're always in motion. You're jumping up and down. You told me a story one time you were in Finland and they were spraying, I think it was in Finland, they're spraying people with hoses because it's hot, and you said, hey guys with the hoses, spray me. So that being the front man, the rock star, how much did Branson have to do with that? Did you learn show business in Branson? I'm serious. That's a serious question.
I did learn show business in Branson, both working at Silver Dollar City, but more importantly, at night, I would play in this little vaudeville show that was run by this guy named Shad Heller and his wife Molly. And Shad was kind of the face of Silver Dollar City. We're going to get off on a tangent here. We got real me in here.
That's great.
These guys, he had been a Barnum and Bailey clown. He had he was on the Beverly Hillbillies. He had done the real thing. And seeing the discipline, I mean, this was where you saw the fun of entertainment and saw people really honing their craft, but also they took it. It was madness, and it was dead serious at the same time. Like Monty Python, that is absolute madness, but you can tell they know where it's going. It is finely crafted. So yes, Branson, the whole Branson experience was a big, big influence on me.
Well, when you're on stage, and I've played many big shows with you where you've done that, it seems like it's just coming right up your spine. Do you think about it, or is it just...
It's both, That's that balance between inspiration and craftsmanship, which happens in songwriting and it happens in performance, where you want to get lost in it, but you always want to be grounded. You always want to know that you're in control of where it's going, not the song or not the band, right, but the energy that you're writing it, but you're also steering it. And when you get that balance just right, it's wonderful.
No,
Yeah.
that's great. That's a great answer.
Thanks.
Jack Allen told me, he said, just be yourself, only bigger.
Yeah, be yourself, but bigger. That's pretty good. The thing is, the guy that most people thought of me in the lead singer role of the Rainmakers, particularly in the 80s, was really not very much like me, I don't think. You know, I'm actually a pretty quiet guy by nature.
Absolutely you are. Yeah, you are.
I've always told people that the ego and the aggressive nature that most people ascribe to a lead singer, that's the bass player. And the touchy ego that you think of as a lead singer, that's the drummer.
Thank you. I thought you were going to say the guitar player through all of these.
And the guy who won't help carry in and out the equipment that you think is the lead singer, that's the guitar player.
That's right. Okay.
Voted Best Live Music Venue, Knucklehead Saloon is located in the East Bottoms, deep in the heart of Kansas City. Home to 4 stages, Knuckleheads offers live entertainment 6 nights a week. For a list of upcoming shows and tickets, visit knuckleheadskc.com. Knuckleheads, where the world's greatest musicians come to play.
Midwest Music Foundation supports Kansas City's vibrant music community through wellness services and healthcare grants, advancing artists' careers through educational and performance opportunities, and providing access to a growing network of industry professionals. Through Abby's Fund, musicians and music workers faced with urgent healthcare expenses can get the help they need when they need it. For more information on the resources MMF provides, visit midwestmusicfoundation.org.
Hey, this is Randy Miller, and we've got some cool things going on at randymillerradio.com. You just never know when you come in the studio, Michael, what you're going to find.
Randy, let them have it, Randy.
randymillerradio.com is our daily podcast, and it's available all the time, 24/7, if you're brave enough to listen. Just go to randymillerradio.com and turn it up.
It's Randy Miller, 24/7. Whenever you're brave enough to listen on randymillerradio.com.
Marketing in today's world can be difficult. No other medium can reach more people more effectively than video. B4 Productions is here to help. We'll bring your ideas to life and make sure you get the most out of your investment. Commercials for regular TV broadcast, explainer web videos, or just corporate training. It's what we do. When you need a quality production without breaking the bank, you need B4 Productions.
These get to the heart of who Robert J. Walkenhorst really is. Hey, what's J stand for?
J, my dad and mom gave me just an initial for a middle initial because they figured Robert Walkenhorst was long enough. And I would be Bob. And so it's Mark. Who's here tonight? My brother Mark. Mark, Bob, and Rex, short first names because our dad's name was Raymond Frederick Wilhelm Walkenhorst.
Wow, Wilhelm?
Yeah, and he didn't want to get named after the Kaiser.
Wilhelm, yeah, the Kaiser. Holy cow, pass it on. Wilhelm and Adolf fell out of fashion.
Yeah, those fell off real fast. Yeah.
Can you roller skate?
I used to. I mean, it's been years and years. I'm not good at it, and I fall. So.
Yeah, it was the big thing when we were kids, and I never learned how to do it. I was always shamed in myself that I couldn't learn how to do it.
Well, there's always time, Jeff.
Okay, yeah. Time to break my tailbone.
Yeah.
What would you tell your 20-year-old self?
What would I tell my 20-year-old self? Get down to it, because I really didn't get down serious with music till I was about 28 or 29. I remember being extremely self-conscious about my age.
Really?
Moving to Kansas City, I was 28 years old, and I was like, God, the Beatles had already come and gone by this time,
That's incredible to think
and
about that.
so, yeah, I would have told my 20-year-old self, get down to business. You know you love this, do it.
Yeah, that's great.
But the 20-year-old self still had to write 500 bad songs. So it's
sure,
like,
I get it.
He had his work cut out for him.
But at 28, you were still hanging. So all you 28-year-olds that aren't quite comfortable with who you are, get down to it. Get down to it. Okay, the last toss-up question. This is going to elicit some mumbles and murmurs from the audience. You don't have to answer this. This is a big one, guys. You ready? Cats or dogs?
I have always been a dog person, but
That is the correct answer.
Just recently, I have fallen in love with a cat. The house we live in, which we've owned for 18 years now, came with 3 feral cats. They're 19 years old. One of them finally we had to have put down this summer, but the little cream-colored one, when it was 18 below zero, we decided we needed to take her in. And she's now an indoor cat, and I love her. And if I seem a little weary tonight or not making sense, it's because I've been up since 3 in the because I had to take her to the vet at 7.
Oh man, sorry.
And she's good. She's good. Everything's good. But I have not had any sleep for a long fucking time.
Well, I certainly begrudge no one for loving any animal, a cat or whatever. When cats
so I just want to say hi to Lisa out there. Yeah. Lisa, my cat.
When cats start rescuing people from collapsed buildings and sniffing out bombs and disease, they can have a little more respect for me.
But what do cats do?
I know. Cats need to understand that the bar is at dog. I'm sorry. I told you this was going to... I told you. Okay. You can hate me. You can hate me. I had a cat. I loved the cat. We had a cat. She's buried out in our backyard. I love her. I say hello to her every time I see her headstone. So I love her, but...
She was buried prematurely,
but...
Right.
Okay. Anyway.
Moving on.
This last area of interest is called the Holy Grail.
Holy Grail.
Because when we were cutting our teeth, the Holy Grail to every band was getting a record deal. And I remember I came into a practice with a band I was playing with at that time, and the drummer said, "Steve, Bob, and Rich got a record deal." And the lead singer, who shall remain nameless, Mike Bliss, said, "It's like a knife through my heart." And I said, "Why, man? It does nothing but help all of us. It gets the folks on Kansas City." So I just want to know, well, first of all, the story of Pete Lubin finding a cassette tape of Balls in the trash, right?
Yeah, it was actually the album. So
the album Balls?
We'll try to make this like concise.
Okay,
but
this is a great story.
The reason that Steve, Bob, and Rich got noticed by New York record executives was we had made this album, vinyl, called Balls. And the reason it was called Balls is because it had our bowling balls on the cover. We would play in Springfield at this bowling alley, and we were making the guy a lot of money, but other bars wanted us to play, and so for us to keep playing at his bowling alley bar, he gave us free bowling balls. And so
I didn't know that.
We would go there, and we'd play in Springfield for 2 or 3 nights and go bowling during the day because we're fucking rock and rollers, Sex strikes bowls and strikes spares and rock and roll, So it was Rich's idea. Let's put the bowling balls on the cover and call it Balls.
It's a great record cover. It really is.
And so, we thought everyone would, and it did. It looked great. We had it professionally photographed and, made this little homemade record that we sold. That's when people were actually buying the records of whoever you went out to listen to, you'd buy their record. So we mailed those off. And our management, we had managers at the time, they were mailing these off to record companies who won't listen to them. They've got a trash pile that they throw all this stuff in that people are mailing in. So this guy at Mercury Records he was just having a bad day, and he said, I'm going to sign just to show these people that he works for. Just to stick it to them, I'm going to sign the worst band I can find. So he goes to the record pile, and he's sorting through this pile of trash, and he sees the record album with the bowling balls, and he goes, "That's going to suck." And he fishes it out of the trash, and he puts it on, and he told me later, he said, "I cannot tell you how disappointed I was."
That it wasn't bad.
That it wasn't bad. I talked to him last week. He is still a good friend, yes. Yeah.
Yeah, that's Pete Lubin.
Pete Lubin,
He was
yeah.
an A&R guy.
Yeah.
A&R is for artist and repertoire. If you had an A&R guy at your gig, the band was really uptight.
Yeah, they were the guys that signed bands to record labels,
Yeah.
and yeah, I mean, for our age group, there was that dividing line. You're either a local regional band or you're a national band, and the way you're a national band is you're signed to a major record label, and that was the goal. Yeah. That was the goal. It was very well defined. You have to make that leap.
It was the holy grail.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was.
How many A&R guys does it take to put in a light bulb?
How many?
I don't know. What do you think? Okay. So you go into the studio. Terry,
I'll tell you what, Pete Lubin would put in that damn light bulb.
You go into the studio, your first big record down at Ardent Studios in Memphis, Tennessee. Terry Manning, the record he had just finished was Eliminator for ZZ Top.
Yeah.
Was that intimidating?
It would have been, except Terry Manning was just one of the nicest guys in the world who loved music, loved making recordings, loved playing ping pong, loved eating candy, whatever there was to do. Terry just loved it, and he just treated you like you were friends, like from the word go. He is a great guy.
Yeah, I've never met him. He seems like a really cool
wonderful
guy.
person.
Yeah, I think, boy, what a hell of a producer.
Oh yeah,
wow, he can get the sound. Whose idea was the dog on the back cover?
And here's where the story goes off the tracks. No, the thing is, when you make that leap to a national act, you're going to put out an album, you're going to try to go out and play everywhere. It requires a team. It requires an army of people. You have to have people you trust, and sometimes they come to you with decisions that you hadn't even crossed your mind, but they say, we need to make a decision here. And like for the Rainmakers, it was like, what? Well, first of all, Steve, Bob, and Rich with somebody else on drums can't be Steve, Bob, Rich, and Pat. That's too many people. We need a new name. So we came up with the name, and then it was like, well, what kind of image do you want? And so they, okay, we got 5. So, it was one of those things of art directors, stylists and stuff said, well, let's put you in a top hat. And I don't regret that. It's like people noticed. And we're going to put this dog in the photo. So, it was just one of those things that happened that wasn't my idea, but it's like, okay, what the heck? I love dogs. So.
Yeah, and the top hat, they just said, here, put on this top hat?
No, I actually said, how about if I wear a top hat? So.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Okay, because there's a fella in Norway, and in Norway, the top hat is kind of iconic.
Kind of a deal, yeah.
People will come to concerts wearing, back when we played concerts in Norway, would come to concerts wearing top hats, and we played on a stage once that had a top hat on top of it. Thank you for letting me do this.
Hey, Jeff, when I got to interview Jeff out at Knuckleheads, and I can't even remember how that came about. I think J.A. actually contacted me and said, would you do this? And I thought, well, that would be fun and interesting. And I contacted Jeff to see if it was okay with him, and he said, I will do that. I will let you do that if you will make sure that I interview you. And so when it came my turn and J.A. contacted me, they were going to have somebody else interview me. And I said, no. Wait. We had a deal here. Yeah. And so I said, I think Jeff is counting on this. So.
I would have been mildly chagrined or even hurt. Actually, when J.E. asked me, he said, would you want to interview Bob? I said, I would, but Bob, I don't know if Bob go for it. And when J.E. asked Bob if he wanted it, he said, yeah, I would, but I don't think Jeff will go for it. Okay, this question comes from Rosie de Janeiro.
Okay.
All the press, and I saw one time in a local thing said that you love them or you hate them, Rainmakers. Is there such a thing as bad press?
I don't think so. I think that you can't. That's something you can't control. So you just have to be. You have to be able to let some of it roll off your back, which took me a little learning to do. We would get some bad reviews regionally, locally, even in town, and I would be like, I would write or call the person that wrote the review, and I'm like, why are you being so mean to us? Eventually, you just have to say. They've got an opinion, and everybody's got an opinion. If you don't like that record, go listen to somebody else.
Well, this has been wonderful, Bob. You're one of my heroes. You're a mentor.
No, Jeffy, you and I have been through a lot together.
I have traveled farther with Bob than any other human being. I've traveled longer with Barb, but I've been across the ocean 10 times with you, I think, and we've all the way to the Baltic Sea.
And you've kissed both of us. So
I have kissed you. Well, actually. If you want to know the truth, that was one of my pop-up questions was, how old were you the first time you kissed a girl?
How old was I? 17.
Yeah, how old were you the first time you kissed a boy?
That'd be you. No, wait, Jim Wirt
I
kissed
knew
me
it was
one
Jim
time.
Wirt.
So I was in my 30s, and Jim Wirt, who was the bass player in Fool's Face, was real drunk and was telling me how much he would have a beer like this, and how much he loved me. I love you, man.
I thought you were going to kiss me.
I did. So it was more of I received a kiss than gave a kiss.
Thank you for letting me do this. You are one of my heroes. When I do my solo tours or my solo shows, I always play Stay Ahead of the Wolves. I always say it's one of the best songs ever written.
Thank you. And we will do it tonight.
Get through this. If you know me, you know I do this. I always tell people that you are one of the best songwriters of our generation.
Well, thanks, Jeff.
I mean that.
And thank you.
I do.
Thank you.
I mean that. That is not false compliment.
And
at all.
I am very much at peace with where it has taken me and where it has not taken me. I am lucky, and I feel very lucky that this was my version of the story.
Yeah, I get it.
I was like, what our version, the Rainmakers version, the bands I was in before the Rainmakers, I got to do a lot of really interesting things, and I have been really lucky, so I am grateful.
Will you play some music for us?
Thank you, Jeff.
Thank you, Bobby.
I love you, man. Looking to buy an RV? KC RVs is your one-stop shop for everything RV. We offer competitive pricing, great financing rates and terms, and the best storage options in town. KC RVs. We make purchasing an RV fast, safe, and easy.
Midwest Music Foundation supports Kansas City's vibrant music community through wellness services and healthcare grants, advancing artists' careers through educational and performance opportunities, and providing access to a growing network of industry professionals. Through Abby's Fund, musicians and music workers faced with urgent healthcare expenses can get the help they need when they need it. For more information on the resources MMF provides, visit midwestmusicfoundation.org.
Successful musicians know a strong multimedia presence is a must. Rock the stage and elevate your game with Black Moon Media. We understand the power of high-quality visuals in attracting premier venues, and we specialize in photo and video services designed to help you kick your career into high gear. Are you ready to take your band to the next level? Contact us today at 913-415-5101 or by visiting the website on your screen. Flexible payment options available.
When you need to keep your trailer rolling, turn to the towing pros at Croft Trailer Supply. With thousands of parts and decades of experience, Croft's friendly and knowledgeable staff will make sure you have the right parts for any type of trailer. Don't have time to fix it yourself? Let the mechanics at Croft get ready to roll. Whether you need hitch installation, DOT trailer inspection, towing accessories, or a brand new trailer, Croft Trailer Supply is Kansas City's one-stop trailer shop.
Looking to sell your RV? Let KCRV sell it for you. We offer free storage until your unit sells. We'll advertise, showcase, finance, and best of all, we'll handle all the paperwork. KCRVs, Kansas City's RV Consignment Center.
The thing is, I got a lot of songs, and trying to decide which three I wanted to play, I decided I would play something new, something old, and something in the middle. So the first one is a new song from my recent album that I put out in November, and Jeff requested this one. So there's a town north of here called Weston, where almost all of us have visited at one time or another. Yeah, Weston's a fun place. Good friends up there. And then Weston was crossing my mind, and I thought, well, is there an Easton? And there is. There's Easton, Kansas, which is farther west than Weston. And I just thought that made two really nice bookends, Easton and Weston, for a little story. So here's the story. There's a road to the west of Easton. No one goes, never had a reason to regard the turn or make the drive. There's a boy sitting on a porch there, breathing and back, dreaming in a green chair, wondering where the gravel fades away. So far down the shining highways, first star winking out the old days, hopes and constellations on the rise, traveling on to the west of Easton, race the sun through the planting season. He will miss the harvest in the fall. So long down the shining highway, so long old familiar ways. Every road you take can run both ways. On a farm to the east of Weston, there's a girl with a flowered dress on, spinning in slow circles in the yard. Falling down in the summer grasses, dizzy as the diorama passes of her life ahead, the life behind. Seeing how nobody has the answers, she will move, dipping like a dancer, dodging all distractions come her way. So soon days become tomorrows, slow moon circling her sorrows, hasten the rotation round the sun. Round the bend, far from East and Weston, where it ends, you're as good as guessing, onto our uncertain certainty. Every road crosses with another, some you turn, some you needn't bother. Every path you take, there's one you leave. Life will move with you or without you, perpetual motion all about you. East and on to west, and I am gone. Something new, something old. This song has served me and the Rainmakers very well. It was written about growing up in small town Missouri. And the cool thing we found out is growing up in small town Missouri is very much like growing up in small town England or small town Norway or small town Germany. And we found out that this song was their song too, you know, growing up, driving around, trying to figure out what's out there on the horizon that you're gonna go find.
than I used to be, younger than I'm gonna be. Fewer things puzzle me than when I was young. But when my pace is falling slack, I catch myself thinking back. A certain night, a certain summer, long gone long. August, she was swinging low, town of about 1,000, so out of school, ready to get out of here. Off to farm, off to state, each going our separate ways. Graduation message still sweet in our ears. Whoa, come singing now, clocks are slow and hearts beat on and long gone long. Got into a car that night, drove out past the signal light, past the city limits. I guess it wasn't that far. Stopped out on a rural route, Gooch got out his 22, shooting at a freight train that was hauling new cars. Drinking underneath the stars, watching, counting meteors. Robert said, you know those fella 100 years ago. The light is just now reaching Earth. I said, man, for what it's worth, I think you are wrong, and you really don't know. Oh, come singing now, man, these clocks are slow, and hearts beat on and long gone long. Is something going on? I tell you, nothing's going on. Nothing's going on, going on, going on. Is something going on? I tell you, nothing's going on. Nothing's going on, going on. Goodbye to the home team, goodbye to the rinky-dinks, goodbye to a girl down my street heading home. She stepped up from behind a tree, tears are running down her cheeks. Goodbye to more than either of us could have known. La 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 la. Oh la 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 la. So, old song, new song, middle song. So this song is off of my 2020 pandemic record. I think most artists have their pandemic record or their pandemic painting or book or whatever that kept them sane during the pandemic. So this song, the first two lines of this song really sum it up for me. I was singing before anybody listened to me. And whenever everybody quits listening to me, I'm still going to be singing. But in between, I thank you all so much for listening to me. I was singing my song when nobody was listening. I'll still be singing when the wind comes whistling. Standing with my trumpet on a bridge by the river bend. I'll be blowing real blue on an indigo wind. never was much on syncopation. I stutter in the art of conversation. I fall between the cracks and the beats and the synonyms. And I dangle in my tangled up thoughts on an indigo wind. I'm in love with a woman that I do not deserve. I very nearly blew it, nearly lost my nerve, but I didn't, and I wouldn't, and I couldn't ever leave her again. And we'll be gone by dawn on an indigo wind. All of my life I've been flirting with disaster. Stick with me, baby, 'cause I'm one lucky bastard. And we'll dance out on the rope bridge, but we'll never fall in. 'Cause we were born to swing on an indigo wind. Swing it with me. In my busted up mirror, I'm a real good looker. A cool cucumber in a steaming pressure cooker. And somebody's got to answer, got to blow, something's got to give. And I'll be seeking retribution on an indigo wind. I get lost in my thoughts, I'm barely in the room. A million scraps of paper and an old corn broom, trying to gather my ideas into something I can comprehend. But they blow away to Wichita on an indigo wind. Yeah, life is a dust bowl you're not expecting. You're down in your hidey hole, seeking protection, stuffing newspapers in the cracks where the light gets in. Come out of the cellar, it's a calm, clear day. Somebody should tell her that it all blows away. It all blows away on an indigo wind.
Oh my gosh!
I lost it.
That is the one. That